Now, first step 4, the wildfire forcing evacuations in our area. What investigators are saying, we are live at the scene. Plus, how can you help keep your community safe from a wildfire sparking as you head out to the lake? And mourning the massacre. The newest details coming out today on the rail yard shooting in the South Bay.
Covering Northern California, you're watching Action News Now. Breaking news.
Breaking news, forward progress has been stopped on a fire east of Orville. This is Feather Vale Drive in Butte County. Action News Now reporter Christian Lopez is out there. Christian, what can you tell us?
That's right, forward progress just stopped a little while ago. Let me step aside the camera and show you what it looks like. You can see fire crews out here mopping up the fire. Now let me show you right here. This is the one and only structure that burned. It was a travel trailer, and the call for this fire came in around 2:30 this afternoon. And once fire resources got here, they were able to quickly extinguish this fire that burned around 3 acres. You can see right here, and CAL FIRE says that they had firefighters battling this fire on the ground, and they also had an aircraft and a total of about 8 engines out here working to get this fire out. And like you mentioned, forward progress is now stopped, and they're out here mopping up this fire. They're still trying to figure out exactly what caused it. I am going to stay out here and talk to some of the neighbors in this area who saw it all happen. And I'll have that for you coming up at 4:30. Reporting live in Orville, Christian Lopez, Action News Now coverage you can count on.
Thank you, Christian. And we will check back in with Christian and hear from a neighbor in our second half hour. And let's take a look over where that fire was. This is from Rattlesnake Peak. The smoke is gone now, and we check in with Chief Meteorologist Jason Stiff live in the Storm Tracker Weather Center. And Jason, it's really glad that it didn't seem there was any strong winds out there.
Yeah, thankfully we didn't have a lot of wind around that area, which was really good news for us. The temperatures are quite warm, but the wind has been fairly light. You can see all the mid and upper 80s that we have widespread around the valley right now, even the higher terrain in the 70s and lower 80s. But specifically for Oroville, the closest location that we have, the closest observation, 87 degrees. But this is really good to see. No wind. It's only been 3 to 5 miles an hour at most the last several hours, so that was allowing them to really get that fire out quickly. Most other areas do have wind upwards of 15 miles an hour. And we're not quite done with the breezes, but we're also just about done with these relatively seasonable temperatures around the region. Is going to get hotter. Temperatures in the foothills in the lower to mid 80s tomorrow. By tomorrow afternoon for the valley, lower to mid 90s. Still some gusts up to 25 miles an hour possible, but the sustained wind between 10 and 20 miles an hour. Humidity is going to get lower, mainly in the teens. So the fire danger is rising. It is now in the high category. We don't have any fire weather watches or red flag warnings, but we already do have an excessive heat watch that's been issued. I'll let you know where it's going to be in effect, when, and how hot it's going to be where you live coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Jason. One less spark, one less wildfire. That's the message firefighters have for people this Memorial Day weekend. Action News Now reporter Anna Torrea is live in Redding. Anna, you spoke with the Shasta Trinity Forest Service. What did they tell you today?
Well, one of the things that people like to do in our area, especially during this time and this upcoming holiday weekend, is to head out to the lakes in our area. That's why the Forest Service wants to remind people to tow responsibly. The Forest Service says people should make sure that their chains are secure and not dragging. And for Lugene and Walt Robbins, they keep their boats out on Shasta Lake, but hopes that people who are towing their boats to the water stay alert.
Hopefully everybody takes precaution.
Just sometimes the craziness of boaters on heavy weekend use is, like a holiday weekend, people get a little haphazard.
Just be hyper vigilant of what you're towing. Look out your mirrors frequently. When you stop, make sure your chains are still secured, your connections are all secure.
Before you leave, the Forest Service says people should do some preventative maintenance on their cars. That means checking on their brakes and checking on their tire pressure. Reporting live in Redding, Anna Torrea, Action News Now, coverage you can count on.
Thank you, Anna. And for more information on how you can stay prepared and safe this wildfire season, you can visit readyforwildfire.org. And investigators, this afternoon, we are learning more about the victims of the rail yard shooting in San Jose. Police told Chris Pallone, a longtime employee, is who opened fire, killing 9 people.
Adrian, Alex, Jose, Lars, Michael, Paul, Tapchadeep, and Timothy.
A day after the nation's latest workplace massacre, people in San Jose honor the victims who went to work and never returned home.
We are strong. We support each other. We're a family.
As the investigation continues, some of the most important questions are still unanswered.
What in the world could possibly prompt someone to take this kind of action? We don't know at this point.
This is an active shooter.
Investigators say Sam Cassidy opened fire at the Santa Clara Valley Transit Authority rail yard around 6:30 Wednesday morning. Police arrived within moments and confronted him, but by then 9 people had been shot. Police say Cassidy, a longtime VTA employee, turned the gun on himself.
I think he was very deliberate, very fast. He knew where employees would be.
I wasn't shocked.
Cassidy's former wife said he used to complain to her often about his coworkers.
But I never thought he would do that.
The victims range in age from 29 to 63, including Tajideep Singh, who died trying to warn others the gunman was coming.
Even in the last moment, he wasn't looking for his own safety per se. He was trying to save people. I mean, that's who he was.
I would like to ask that we all take a moment of silence for our fallen workers.
Another American community mourning and trying to make sense of the senseless.
Chris Pallone, Action News Now.
Investigators say Cassidy fired at least 39 shots during his rampage. They have found 3 handguns so far, which appear to be legal, but the sheriff says the high-capacity magazines Cassidy had are illegal in California. Have you gotten your vaccine yet? New at 4, Governor Gavin Newsom announced the Vax to Win program in hopes of getting more shots in arms. On June 15th, 10 people will win $1.5 million. But in order to claim the money, you must be fully vaccinated. 30 people will be selected for a $50,000 cash prize, and Californians who have already received the vaccine will be automatically entered for a chance to win. New at 4, Glenn County announces the end of its COVID-19 local emergency proclamation. The county cites low case rates and increasing vaccinations as reasons for this decision. Currently, 36.3% of people in Glenn County are fully vaccinated. 43% have received at least 1 dose of the vaccine.
We've just continued to see this marked improvement in the number of individuals being vaccinated in Glenn County. And really what that means is that people here are going to be safer, and if in fact they do contract one of the variants.
County leaders are encouraging everyone who is eligible to get vaccinated to sign up and make an appointment. New developments in the effort to solve the mystery of COVID-19's origins. As Mary Maloney shows us, President Joe Biden and lawmakers are looking for answers.
Despite getting closer to controlling COVID-19 in the U.S., the country is far from reaching a conclusion on the origin of the virus.
We really need to understand what happened. It's important for preventing the next pandemic.
Now, President Biden and Congress are taking action. On Wednesday, Biden directing the U.S. intelligence community to redouble its efforts to solve that puzzle. Biden says he wants the agencies to report back to him in 90 days. Right now, there are 2 possible scenarios. Did the virus pass from an infected animal to a human, or was it the result of a lab accident? Biden's push comes after a U.S. intelligence report found several researchers at a lab in Wuhan, China, became sick and had to be hospitalized in November 2019.
And critically, to understand when the Chinese government knew what they knew. Because if in fact there was a cover-up for some period of time, that was really critical time that the rest of the world could have used in order to prepare.
For its part, China says the U.S. does not care about facts and truth at all and is merely shifting the blame. On Capitol Hill, the Senate passed a bill requiring U.S. intelligence agencies declassify information on the origins of COVID-19. But finding answers will be hard.
We need to get to the bottom of this, and we need a completely transparent process from China. We need the WHO to assist in that matter. We don't feel like we have that now.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
And today, the world passed 3.5 million total deaths from the coronavirus. The president is campaigning for his infrastructure package as Republicans work on their counteroffer. How much they plan to pay on what? Coming up. Plus, an early morning house fire. What neighbors told Action News Now about the home. But first, Butte College graduation is this weekend. But it will not look like the others we have seen this season when Action News Now, first at 4, continues.
Mic check, mic check. Esteban, people I spoke to say at night they see fires.
Another homeless encampment has popped up in Chico, and it has some neighbors on alert. New at 4, Action News Now reporter Danny Maston is live near the encampment on Humboldt and Forest Avenue. Danny, what are people living in the area mostly concerned about?
Esteban, people I spoke to say at night they see fires coming from this encampment, which is located down this pathway here. They share with me this is a big concern for them, especially during wildfire season. Lots of things like trash, shoes, and clothes fill the area of this homeless encampment, which is near the bike path on Forest Avenue. I spoke with Heather Blue, who lives at an apartment complex nearby with her kids just down the street from this encampment. She tells me she has noticed the area slowly start to fill up with more and more homeless people and is concerned for her kids' safety.
We used to walk along the bike path over there just to get behind the schoolyard and take walks, even enjoy exploring bugs and anything, like for the little ones, and looking at the creek when there is water. But it's dangerous now, and my daughter and son usually ride their scooters around, and I say just avoid the bike path because it's really dangerous. You don't ever know what's going to happen over there.
Action News Now, it has put a halt to its homeless encampment evictions due to its current lawsuit. This one is within city limits, so it falls under those restrictions. Right now, the city tells me it has no update on a concrete solution for the homeless. Live in Chico, Danny Maston, Action News Now coverage you can count on.
Thank you, Danny. And the city has to come up with that solution before its next court hearing, which is scheduled for June 11th. And Chico firefighters put out a